All right, guys, here we're gonna go. We're gonna go live with Troy. We're gonna stop the bullshit and just go live. We'll talk about that offline, Josh. I appreciate it. Oh, it's cold up in there. Yes.
Party time.
Wow. You look so healthy and vibrant. I feel so sickly and dying. I look
Come
at
out to
Troy's
the
like,
beach. Come out to the beach.
dude, I think I have to because I just was looking at myself in the mirror trying to find an angle. I was like, well, this one's not good. Let me do it. But I realized no matter what lighting I do, it's not good. So I turned on my tungsten lighting. This is what I do for a living, by the way. I light things and paint them. I turned on my tungsten lighting. I opened up the window. I changed my shirt. I was like, it really comes down to the fact that the vibrancy in me, I'll be honest with everybody out there in my world, and Scott's McFadden is right. Troy is happiness, but it's not the outfit, the makeup, the lighting. It's your internal self. It's the fact that Troy's drinking a green juice and I'm drinking a coffee. Troy, you look incredible, by the way. You look like Marty Stauffer a little bit. Do you know who that is?
No, who is he?
It used to be, if anyone is watched PBS back in the days, it was that guy who was the host of Marty Stauffer, Wildlife America. He lived with bears.
Nice.
Dude, it was like the greatest show ever. There was two shows, George Page, Nature, and Marty Stauffer, Wildlife America. But you're more manly than Marty. But Marty was cool, dude, and they don't have a show like that anymore. Okay.
Well, all those shows were great. That painter too that you like. What was his name?
Bob Ross.
Oh God, so amazing. So simple in its simplicity. That's the thing.
Yeah. Troy, have you ever worried about balding? Because I don't think you're ever going to bald.
You know, I think I got some really good genetics, but I will have to tell you, at the older I get, I think my hairline used to be about right here. And so it's definitely lifting. I use castor oil and I use, again, I don't like to promote the urine therapy, but I do use the urine therapy.
Okay.
And then I scratch my scalp every morning, right? You want to stimulate this, whether you got hair or not. I mean, this really stimulates everything.
Yeah.
You can also do inversions, and the Chinese, they used to drink hibiscus tea. In my study of herbs and working in the Amazon, I realized that antioxidants, deep dark reds, reconfigurate damaged DNA. So the Chinese use hibiscus tea to keep their hair and their hair color into their 60s, 70s, and 80s. So, drink the rainbow, but definitely some deep dark purples like acai, blueberries. We have a tart cherry juice that's excellent as well. And so, yeah, get those reds into your body, stimulate your scalp, boost your lower your stress levels, because premature aging is balding, right? Or graying or any of that stuff.
Yeah. I was going gray at 18, perhaps. Oh, no, 17. Perhaps that's because I came from the gutters of New York City, born into the animalistic subway system, and then spent my time on the streets hanging out in a stressful, aggressive, tenacious world.
Yep.
Where it was like a concrete maze where you had to avoid getting crushed. It was a little bit like the every day, Troy, I don't know if you know this about me, but every day, especially in pretty much from 5th grade to 9th grade, I spent running away from potentially getting murdered. But I was beaten up, jumped, stabbed, shot at, held at gunpoint several times. So it probably has something to do with my gray beard early, but who knows? Quite honestly, it could be just genetic too.
Look, that's very stressful. And just being in New York City, that frenetic energy that has now dissipated because everybody's in lockdown. I know in LA for sure. Noise pollution, add to that depending on the food quality you ate, food stress. Um, that's very stressful. And our traumas as children, you know, uh, Bruce Lipton's work on epigenetics, you know, it's not so much your genes, but what you do to your genes. So it's understandable if we're dealing with stress, and that's why I created my stress management course to help everyone be aware of what's on the environment that can potentially harm them, so they can manage and mitigate that. Electromagnetic radiation and pollution, these devices that we have, are a stress on the human body. So just that awareness alone, you can turn it on Wi-Fi. I mean, turn it on airplane mode, keep it away from your body, keep it away from your food, turn your Wi-Fi off at night. Just these little things. You know, a big part of my work right now is don't make health a thing. Get all these health nut things in your head and then practice them moment to moment when you need it. Same thing with breath work. I mean, we could just boom, hold that, and that'll clear your head right there. So don't make these things a thing. You don't have to find
Right.
a pillow to sit on it. You can just jump in a cold shower, do some breath of fire, you know, drink some green juice, get some sun on your body, walk barefoot when you can, touch a tree, that'll ground you out. Keep your cell phone on airplane as much as possible, away from your body, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So just let those things stack up so that you're not a statistic.
You know, Troy, I heard a very compelling speech with the lady who used to work for the Defense Department. She's clearly like a New Yorker, and she spoke in Australia. I think you've probably seen it. It's pretty famous, and I think she has the most comprehensive data on why cell phone EMF frequencies are really toxic for you. And she has a lot of diagrams where she has somebody on the phone like this, and you can see it traveling to the brain here. And when you have a kid who's like 8 years old or younger, it actually penetrates deep into the deep past the all the way basically to the other side of the face. And I was going to say like the cranial mass, but you know, it's really true. And when you do take it off your body, I mean, this is now becoming what used to be fiction, or like, oh, they don't really know yet. But actually, if you read the disclaimer on your phone, they're telling you.
That's cool.
There is a disclaimer on your phone that does tell you that this can be very freaking dangerous and toxic. So we don't read that, but they're telling us that. We're just not paying attention.
It says it straight in the iPhone, but nobody, you know, reads it. But, you know, pull up a YouTube video with some guy that can dismantle it for you. And you want to keep it, like, I think it's 6 centimeters away from your body. I mean, it's harmful. And they've shown those thermography
That's what it is.
pictures where it heats up the brain. We all thought Russell Simmons was going to get cancer of the brain because remember back in the 90s? Dude, he had the big ones, and he was always on them.
But two and three of them. Russell used to roll out with like 3 to 4 phones anywhere. I actually had dinner with Dana White from the UFC, and he had 6 phones on the table. I was like, why do you, I mean, I know why he had those phones, because he's a straight hustler, baller, burner phone, whatever. But I was like, damn, Dana's got a lot of radiation. Like, of course, telling him that, even I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
But if you look at him, you can see the stress levels. You can see the weight gain. Remember,
Sure.
An overweight body is a stress body, and you can see the inflammation in his body as well. So stress causes inflammation. Inflammation is the cornerstone of disease. Or stress is the cornerstone of disease. And remember, that's dis-ease. Your body's just not at ease. Half of the protocols that I have, Justin, are really just to lower my own stress levels, so I'm not an asshole out in the world, and I can actually, you know, be happy, you know, be presentable to the world.
Holistic Healing Love says, Justin BUA, we love you, man. Troy is a blessing, and it's awesome watching y'all share. Yes, it is. That's why so Everywhere Log says that's why 5G is being posed for danger. 5G, let's talk about that for a second, because I thought 5G was a conspiracy baloney thing. And it's funny because, Troy, they put up 2 5G towers in my neighborhood, and my friend down the block has a Geiger meter, and he was made, I guess, which measures the frequencies, the radioactivity. And they're pretty scary and powerful. And it even says on it, like, it's not really conspiratorial when it says on it, danger, stand. I think they say 1 foot away from it, which is ridiculous because if they're telling you to stand away from it on the sign that not everybody could see. I mean, how about people that don't speak English? You're just walking under it. You walk under it all the time, but you can feel the power of that 5G tower. I'm telling you, dude, it's powerful. So,
Yeah, I think there's been some research and some reports. Cell phone towers. This is not even 5G. Just cell phone towers were killing off the birds up in Canada, like really off grid. And this Canadian Mountie, he was positioned up there, way up in nature, and it was killing off the bird populations that were flying by it. It also affects the bees, which are the insects. And so, you know, conspiracy theory, I think all this stuff really comes down to business. And then when you make all the money, then it gets into power and control. And so it's kind of like this addictive avarice, if you will. So again, we don't have to go conspiratorial. It's just good for capitalism, crony capitalism. And these things aren't necessarily always good for us. Look at asbestos, look at commercial cigarettes and that whole industry.
I know it's funny, right? Like that was so normalized. Like when I went to PS 75 on 96th Street and West End Avenue in New York, and I remember them coming in, and my mom like, you can't insulate it with this is asbestos, and they were like, asbestos is fine, It's like smoking when we were kids, Troy. You and I would take the plane, and people were smoking cigarettes on planes. I mean,
Yeah.
what was normalized, and people were like, you're crazy. So you say something like, well, these 5G towers have electromagnetic frequencies, and they're really normal. And in 20 years, people are going to be like, dude, I can't believe that. So now, if you say shit that's off the beaten path, or you're thinking critically, people think that it's crazy, and it's actually not. We got to go back. We got to simplify. We got to be a little bit more like Troy and simplify. No, it's true, but you know what I mean? Like really simplify. We got too much shit, and this is why, as bad as this shit is out there, the earth is taking a big W because the earth is feeling really good, besides the radiation from from the fucking 5G. But the sky is clearer than ever, and things are just simplifying. Everybody's simplifying. I was talking to DJ Kubert last night. He called me.
Oh man, love Kubert, man.
Yeah, I'm doing a live show with Kubert on this Saturday at 9 p.m. He'll do an hour, and I'll paint during that hour. But Kubert's like, man, I'm just stripping down, simplifying. And I remember when I lost my studio in downtown LA, I had 5 people working for me full time. I had a 5,000 square foot studio. I was spending ridiculous amounts of money, just ridiculous. And when I simplified, I took it. My ego got brutally wounded because I had to convert my garage to a studio. But it was actually way better for me, for my mind. I didn't have to manage everything. I didn't have to manage anybody. I moved to just a few people, not a whole team of people. So I think that just simplifying, eventually I'll probably just be in a trailer. But by the way, it'll be a Winnebago multi-platform diamond encrusted toilet seat gold motherfucking Winnebago. No, I'm kidding. No, it'll be good though. But you know what I mean? But I think as we go along, and a lot of people are very affected financially, so it's okay to simplify. It's okay to strip down, and we just don't need that much shit.
Yeah, well, I
mean, look at Troy. He can't even afford to get his hair cut or a beard trim. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, I like to say I learned this modeling when I would have to pick up and go travel to one city to the next, and I was living in Miami at the time, and I had all these bank statements, and I was like, I thought I needed it so much. And this is back when I was partying, and my mind couldn't compute. I literally packed garbage bags with my stuff and threw it away. And a year later, 2 years later, I was like, well, nothing ever became of that, and I'm actually freer. So I've been able to do that a couple of times in my life. I let go of a lot of my keepsakes. I don't even think I have any pictures or photographs of me in my teenage years. I threw it all away. And so I've been to that minimalist state, and I like to say that the antidote for complexity as we've created in the world today is always simplicity. And I'll say this, there's the children of the sun in the Kalahari Desert. They're the oldest civilization. I think they're 200,000 years old. And their virtue is, I think, he who has the least amount of stuff wins.
Wow. Which is so completely anti-capitalistic, because we are really a culture of just hoarding shit that is unnecessary, for the most part. I mean, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. Look at the bills that came in this week. I mean, it's just like, it never fucking ends. And
paper, dude, we're cutting down trees for
I know.
and
I've tried to go paperless with everything. So more and more I'm doing that. But I think you're right, is that those guys have it right. So what do they win, by the way, when you say that he who has the least, just curious.
I just think that that's their.
Do they get nothing? I think they get nothing because they have the least, and that's who wins. It's all free, man. Air is free. You know what I mean? Water used to be free, and air might not be free for much longer, but it's true. Like, the free shit is great. The sunshine is free. The sunshine is free. How do I get healthy? It's right there.
Yep.
Exactly. All you do, oh shit, there it is. That's crazy. Oh, is that hard? No. Going outside, not that hard.
Yeah, and I think that's what they get is freedom. Freedom of, was it Wayne Dyer said, it's not that you own your stuff, it's your stuff owns you.
Daffer says, not rich who has more, but who needs the least. Very true. Hey, Troy, so let me talk about what you did. I have a bunch of questions for you. First of all, I'm so honored that I get to talk to you every week now. This is really fun.
Right?
It really is. But you have a program that you did when people were coming together, and you will do it as soon as people come together again, called the Mann Clan.
Yep.
And I joined it for the first time. I left in the middle when someone was doing some meditation, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Guru Prem. Is that his name?
Yep.
That was great, man. He has a thing for men called the Mann Clan, where they discuss everything from feelings to meditation to breath work. And you did a cold shower. And I was like, fuck this shit. Like, run in your shower. And I was like, yeah, y'all run in your shower. I'm going to pretend and do this and pretend like I'm not. But I did it. I did a cold shower, which was like, wow, I can't believe I did a cold shower. And then I did the meditation with Guru Prem, and I stuck around for a while, and it was really good. So talk about that, and then talk about how we can get on that.
So the Mann Clan is every Friday night, 5:30 p.m. When we're not in lockdown, I have those. I've been doing those for many years. Sometimes we have a fire and ice where we'll do ice baths, breath work, a little bit of qigong, and then the most important part of that work, Justin, is really men being around men with no females, because I brought females in to teach sacred sexuality and a female perspective, and then all the guys start peacocking, right?
Oh.
And so that didn't work. So no women, which allows men to be vulnerable. They let their guard down. And then one guy shares that somebody, got pregnant and his experience with that. And then another guy shares about, oh, well, a girl cornered me into that and forced me through litigation and ruined my life. So guys get to share these deep things that they carry with them, and they just let it off their back. And they're supported by other men that aren't going to sit there and judge them. We keep that, the fire part of it, going in the circle, pretty quick. We don't get stuck on our head trips. We don't start blaming the government and the way of the world. It's really just, what's on our heart. And the number one thing that guys feel is that they feel heard, and then speaking it out actually gets it off their chest. And then they can walk free, this is what all the stuff I work for is about.
Can you post how to get on it, and then I can just pin it?
I think it's too big.
Okay, I got it. So,
I do have it in a text replacement, but yeah, it's too big for this file.
If anybody's on the Mann Clan from Troy's side, just post it and I'll pin it. But yo, Josh and Scotsman, I'll ask you guys to join along. It's on Monday. Monday?
Fridays, 5:30 p.m. PST. Currently, all men are able to come. I've got some guys in Europe that wake up at 2:30, 3:30 in the morning. I got some Australian guys. It's first thing in the morning for them. So everyone's welcome. We're using the hashtag 1,000 men. We'll have 1,000 men by the time the lockdown is done. And then we're going to do off-grid retreats where we come in, we do sweat lodges, we do more qigong, real empowerment stuff. You left
Right.
early, but last week we did one of the main things that I work for everyone's health program is having purpose, legacy, a dream clarified. They say when you have a dream big enough, there's no need for a crisis or a disease. And so, and I think it's biblical that says, where there is no vision, the people will perish. So we give a very succinct 3-part exercise to clarify your purpose from your heart's desire, not how the mind wants to monetize it, but what did you love to do when you were a kid, your nightmare, and we can reverse engineer that, and then your tombstone or your eulogy. And that gives you a real clear perspective. And then as a roadmap, you can start moving in the direction of that. And then other people that are on your dream team, they have to be aligned with your basic values and be willing to support you. People that aren't on your dream team, you can tell them to have a great day.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good. Kevin, Kevin was there. Kevin Reyes, our friend, our mutual friend, was there. He kind of was like, "Dude, you got to do it. You got to do it." And I was like, oh, "Okay, no, I did." But it was really good. How long are they? Because
I keep it succinct because I have children, and it's 3 hours. So
okay,
we'll do like a half an hour of breath work, and I have amazing guests. Guru Prem was on last week.
yeah, he was great, dude. Is he a New York Jewish guy turned guru? I could feel like he was like a Krishna Das, Ram Das type.
Yeah, I mean, a lot
Yeah,
of those guys are
yeah.
ex-hippies, whatever. They find their way, and
And he was great. He was so good. Like real deal, in shape, mid 60-year-old dude. Like you're like, damn, that's incredible.
yeah, he pulled up his shirt to show the stomach breathing exercise, and he had his rips there. He had his six
Yeah,
pack.
he was good, dude. He's like you. He was walking the walk, talking the talk. He knows a lot. And the breath work is so powerful, dude. And like you take it to that level and you're just like, oh yeah, of course.
And I like those Kundalini guys and the Sikhs. They have a good work ethic. They're great business people.
Yeah, he was the real deal Holyfield. And you need some real, brothers in there, some other people of color, as well. Get some
Hey,
Puerto
man,
Rican
we got.
motherfuckers in there.
I am an open forum.
Yeah, no, I know.
In fact, I'm going to bring you on for some art therapy. So you just let me know when you're available,
Okay.
whatever Friday night that is, and we want to have a good discussion about just getting some pens and some papers and
Yeah.
just putting it out there. Because I think art therapy, especially with the amount of anxiety and mental health issues that we have out there, it's so important. So if you want to do
Yeah.
it this week, let me know sooner than later so the spot doesn't get filled. I like other, people with wisdom. I had a 23-year-old kid that taught Qigong that had depression, clinical depression.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I left after him. He was great.
So look, everyone has value. Everyone has gifts. The week before, I had the Legend of Mick Dodge. National Geographic did 39 episodes on him. He lives in the woods in the Hoh Rainforest up past Seattle, and yeah, man, I'm totally open to, I'm creating a platform so everybody can dance. This isn't about me, right?
Yeah. Scotsman says, Troy, you're welcome in Scotland anytime. Would love to take you on the ancient standing stones in Orkney. Most electric and grounding place I've ever been.
Ooh.
Thank you, Scotsman.
I'm coming. I've been to
He's coming.
Glencoe. I've been to Loch Ness, Glencoe. I've hiked Ben Nevis. I love Scotland. I've got Scotland roots. I've been to the Roslin Chapel many, many times. And we did ice baths at the little stream there in Roslyn Chapel. So I love Scotland, and I'm coming.
And Francis Jerry, you Dominican brother, you better be there. Although, you know, Troy, Puerto Ricans and Dominicans in New York never really got along. In Mann Clan, we're going to all be family again.
That's
So,
correct.
Francis, you better come because we need some. You need some motherfuckers who know what's going on, not these hippie motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and here's the glorious thing of Mann Clan. We are able to actually flush out our differences without, getting out of control and start arguing. Hey, what is actually the problem between Puerto Ricans and Dominicans? Because once you iron it out, you realize that we're all ultimately the same, and there is no real problem.
100%. It's all love.
And I'm happy to do that this week as well. Oh my God, there's all love for sure.
This, so, you know, also what I think is really important is that, oh, sorry about that Elmo thing there, Troy. It's going to go off like 80 times. But the meetup is on Zoom. And what I love also is that you really don't, I mean, I don't really get a chance to interact with just men. I don't do poker night. I don't do basketball anymore. I don't do jujitsu anymore. As you could see, you know, it's women. But that, which is another question I want to ask you, but I think it's really important, just like it is for women to be, you know, among the hearth with just women. I think it's really important for men to be among just men. And that's why people do play ball. And that's why,
on that note, Justin, men around the fire historically is a natural thing. And
yeah,
since the Romans, divide and conquer is like the oldest trick in the book. So coming back together, we used to be on hunting expeditions. We used to go out and do our thing, smoke the peace pipe, do the sweat lodges, going out on hunting expeditions, share around the fire, and that's
yeah.
what we're doing.
And Troy, as you know, you have an open invitation to my infrared sauna anytime you want.
Okay, great.
That's not really a man clan. That's like a bro clan, or two bro clan. So let's talk about something a little deeper. You talk pretty openly about your relationship, how you went through a divorce, and you rekindled that through doing a tremendous amount of conscious healing work. Can you talk about that? Because right now is a time where everybody is living together, stuck together, at each other's throats, perhaps, and it's difficult. Man is very difficult than woman. Man is like this. Woman is like ether. And can you talk about your personal journey throughout your relationship and where you are now with that? Because I think that would illuminate a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, so let me see where to start. So ultimately, there's two forces on this planet: yin and yang, masculine, feminine, inhalation, exhalation, up, down. And so we have to come to terms and understand that. And we all have a shadow. The trap is to get high on our own supply and think, oh, well, I'm not a bad person. This person is the problem, blah, 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 blah. And so we all have a shadow. And if you do not have a partner that's willing to do their work, ultimately you have to do the work for yourself. And when you change, I've heard this, it sounded trite for years. Some people told me about my father who left me on the side of the street. And he said, he'll change when you change. And sure enough, I ended up, really changing my perspective on that. And eventually I really saw how wounded he was for dropping his son off on the side of the road, and the fact that he probably can't face that and probably never would. And so my anger turned into really sadness for him. And I was able to transmute that, and we've got a great relationship now. So my wife and I, your relationship, and I put all this in my book as well. Your relationship is a sacred mirror. If you heed the call, not everybody heeds the call. We get into this blaming thing. We also live in a society that's programmed through culturalism to divide and conquer, right? Feminism came in the 70s. My mother did. The CIA worked with Gloria Steinem. Most people don't realize that. They wanted two people to get into the paying taxes. And that exists right now because most people have to have two jobs. My father bought a house. He worked a union job at a newspaper in the 70s. He bought a house on a $18,000 a year income. My mother didn't work till 1979. So we have this real, separation element that's coming in between us right now. The cottage industry of divorce is sky high. So if the man isn't showing up or if the woman isn't showing up at a certain way, I'll just get a divorce. And here's the thing, as it is, our energies, if there's tension in the relationship, the women will shut down and they won't give the man sex. And if the man doesn't get sex, the man's got a hardcore sex drive that's driven by testosterone hormonally. And so the man will search outside of that. And if you add pornography to that, then the man will definitely just be looking outside. And if you cut the man off from sex long enough, what do we have? 75% or 2/3 of all marriages end in divorce, higher in affluent communities. So, we have to look at this instead of blaming everyone. There's no victims. And we have to take responsibility and kind of understand. Remember, man always knows what's on the horizon to eat and what potentially can eat him. And so we lost our way because now we're domesticated. Now we make these little green pieces of paper, and we're all trained in this industrial age school system to get that paper. And depending on where you are on the hierarchy of elements, people are better at making paper than others. And so, so what I'm saying is we've gotten so far away from our roots and our natural order of things. And so I used my relationship as a spiritual quest. If things aren't showing up in my life that I don't like, then I have to look at that. So we got into our normal tussle. We made it 12 years, and the normal man-woman tussle. At the end, she felt so wounded that we couldn't solve our problems together. So I talked to some of my elders, and I didn't want any regrets. So I didn't want to be that asshole, like, fuck her, just let me divorce her. And then later on going, oh shit, what did I do? Because I did figure out the grass is not greener, right? At 50 years old, I started dating women, and I'm like, wow, freedom, polygamy, wow. And next thing you know, I got all these headaches. These women, the same kind of issues come up, and you're free. But the second you have sex with a woman, you get their whole emotional body. And I was like, I just got out of a divorce. I don't need more problems. So I was like, okay, all right, let's reel this in a little bit. What's it all about? So again, my wife, I forced her to, call the divorce. So I didn't want any regrets. And then when that happened, I had no inclination of getting back together. I just figured, all right, let me accept that. But no matter what, I have 2 children with her, and we have beautiful children. And even though we were fighting like cats and dogs, I bumped up my meditation practice. I got healthier. I got in the gym. She got in the gym too. That's a great thing. We both started really doing deeper work. And, if you're out in the dating field too, you want to be attractive. And so she started taking better care of herself. I was, I bumped up my meditation practice, went in deeper spiritual, started doing my gratitude journal, which really helped me. And then just for shits and giggles, I was like, I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for the children that, she gave me. And I really started practicing that. And then because we were fighting like cats and dogs, I was like, this is worse than the marriage, because we were still trying to tit for tat, control each other. And I did some 5-MeO DMT with a shaman in downtown LA. And I woke up out of that going, okay, whatever my 50% of fuck you on the text message is, don't control me. Let's just eliminate that and see what happens. And I prayed about that, and then I would write down my intentions. which was peace by any means necessary, total peace. And we started facing that more and more. And luckily, she started doing the very powerful psychedelics as well. Even though I worked in the Amazon since 2006, and she had a half cup when she came to the Amazon with me one year, uh, she wasn't really into doing the ayahuasca and the deeper, psychedelic spiritual ceremonies. And but a year into our divorce, she started drinking ayahuasca, and she started facing herself. And then we got together. She's good at business, and we actually filed taxes together because it was just easier. So we were still
So this
working on a
you were
couple.
divorced. You were divorced at this point, Troy?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so you guys were divorced, but you were still hanging out as family, obviously.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was later on. I mean, I couldn't believe that she asked me for her forgiveness for blaming me for the sum total of everything, right? Total victim consciousness. And so she asked me for her forgiveness. I, I don't know if you know anything about Asian women, but you do. But, they're very stoic, and there's been plenty of wars, especially in Korean Peninsula, Japanese and Chinese marching up and down. Martial arts got developed from that, trying to protect themselves. And there's a lot of stoicism. And if you listen to Robert Greene, he wrote the 48 Laws of Power, and he wrote another one on mastery. But he says, American warfare is might makes right. But Eastern warfare is the long game. It's psychological warfare. And so, dude, she brought me to my knees, man. And I was like, so for her to come and apologize, that was like revolutionary. And so, and thank God for ayahuasca and the psychedelics, because they really opened us up. We did some 5-MeO DMT together. She did a ceremony by herself, then I did one with her. And then I was working on my book, and she's got a design background. She went to Parsons. She's a fine artist as well. You'd love her work, man. She's amazing. And so we started getting closer together, and then we started getting a little frisky. But I had already realized from dating women that, once you cross that road, I didn't want to go back into our old patterns. So I said, hey, time out here. If we want to get a little physical, then we're going to have a serious conversation. And she goes, well, I want to be more intimate. And I said, okay, that's cool. So come over tomorrow and tell me all your fears. she was like, oh my God, intimate. I thought that was something else. And then I got invited to go to Rhythmia Life Advancement Center and Ayahuasca Center in the jungle of Costa Rica. And I asked if she could come with me, and we went down and we did ayahuasca together, and we basically cleared a lot of stuff and got back together. But I will tell you, the honeymoon period is over. If it wasn't for our spiritual work and our prayers, and she's doing a lot of work on herself with hypnosis right now, and really taking stock in her own DNA and the way she grew up and her stoicism, and we're both doing our own work. Otherwise, we would just fall back into our own patterns and get back to the fuck yous and just be divorced again. So a lot of prayer, a lot of intention, a lot of deep spiritual work, and we're going to be together no matter what, because we have children that are 12 and 9. So we made the best of it, and
how long?
That's what happened. Everything's in the book. I put everything in the book.
Okay. How long were you guys divorced for?
We separated had quite a few tumultuous years, probably 2000, probably a good 5 years of tumultuousness. And then we were divorced. We separated in 2017, end of 2017. By 2018, we were fully divorced, and we got remarried in October of 2019.
Oh, wow. Well, Troy, first of all, thank you for sharing that. You're getting a lot of comments. Emotional sobriety, boom. Very interesting, boom. That's a real relationship. Reconciliation, that's amazing. I love that so much. My wife is Filipina. She gets crazy. What a realization. I'm married to a Vietnamese woman, 25 years. it's just a really lot of, someone said, I love this talk. You're, thank you for sharing. You're getting real. And I think that that's an example of what Troy does on the Mann Clan, with everybody, in a safe space. So, yeah, and everything does take work. And, even like you said, it was really about taking care of yourself first. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you got to really just deal with number one and try not to step in number two. And just manage that. Someone said also, you're a wizard, Troy. Thanks for sharing. You guys are a beautiful couple and can clearly see the love. Okay, so it just keeps coming, all positive. ID Health, if you actually have the Mann Clan link, if you could, I think that he does the Mann Clan because he keeps talking about it. If you have the link, put it here and I'll pin it.
It's on my YouTube channel. In fact, most of what we filmed the other day, or at least without the sharing part, just kind of Guru Pram, that's on my YouTube channel, Certified Health Nut.
Okay. Troy, do you think it's time for a little breathing or what?
Yeah, baby.
All right. This is Francis says, seems like an interesting dude. Definitely going to follow him. You have to follow Troy. Troy is the truth. And I'll tell you another thing about Troy. I say this every time. There's a lot of gurus, shamans. People don't like that word. I get why you don't like that word. Let's just say people who are wise, who lead. But some people talk the bullshit, just like there's painters out there who talk about how great they are, but they can't back it up because they don't put in the hard work. Troy's 54 years old. He's in great shape. He lives to live. He's vibrating at a high frequency. He's really healthy, and he's done a lot of work. At the end of the day, it comes down to hard work and dedication. Persistence is omnipotent, and the more you do it, the more you get better at it. You can't just all of a sudden have, Michelangelo didn't all of a sudden have God's power coming through his hands because he just decided to paint the Sistine Chapel one day. Michelangelo worked since he was 6 years old, carving marble and stone and drawing and painting and working tirelessly, endlessly. So just know that everything in life, whether it's being a great painter or being healthy or having good relationships with yourself, it takes good work. And I'm not, I'm good in some areas, and in other areas I'm not. Some areas I get an A+, other areas I get an F, other areas I'm, getting a B-. It's just, but it's also how much you put into it. And so you got to really,
Well,
you got to really put the work in.
You're a work in progress.
Yeah.
I mean, I got so much admiration for jiu-jitsu, and I've got one of Chrome Gracie's black belts coming over here afterwards, and I'm, I got to watch my age. I've got an injury that I'm nursing right now before I get back into it. But I was just like, teach me one thing when we meet today, just one simple thing. Kevin taught me a real good arm lock last time, and I know I got to learn basics. But you got to begin from where you're at and be honest. That's all. It's a work in progress.
And jiu-jitsu is really good at being honest because you really realize how quick and where you are in the pecking order. Because you look at some small dude who's nerdy in the corner, you're like, I would fuck that dude up. And then you roll with him and you're like, that dude just fucked me up. Like, I had no, like, fighting is the greatest example of where you are in your life because it teaches you very quickly where you are and what you think is true and not true. I get that in drawing classes when I go to life drawing classes and I sit next to these hotshot kids who think they're the fucking bee's knees, and I'm like, okay, let's go. And they sit next to me and they look over and they're like, shit, because you're not at the motherfucking level, because I've spent my entire life at figure drawing classes. So anyway, but it's true. It's the same thing where you get like, it's a little bit humbling, and jiu-jitsu is really humbling because you're getting choked and you're going to either die or tap. So it's the greatest understanding of where you are on the level, and you can't lie. There's no lies. You can't bullshit. I fuck him up. No, you won't. That's true. That's true. You're right. Oh my God. Humbled, humbled, fucking humbled right away. Okay. We have 15 minutes. Troy, this is your world. I'm just visiting. I love you.
Okay, let's breathe. Let's breathe, guys. Let me get back here.
Everybody breathe. Everybody.
Okay. So,
Juno, me, Judith, you better breathe with us. Scotsman,
here we go.
Josh.
So I'm going to explain it, and then we're just going to do it. So let me close this so the bugs don't get in.
Trevor Thomas, let's breathe. Caitlin, gotta breathe.
Okay, we're all going to breathe, guys. So I'm going to explain it real quick. So what we're going to do is a little in through the nose and out through the mouth. I'm going to call the exhale retention, and then we're going to call the inhale retention. It's going to happen naturally. Just as soon as you get the gag reflex, breathe in and hold that. So exhale retention, inhale retention. I add to it a little bit of Talus stomach massage, some yoga that gets underneath, because the fascia on our ribs sticks, our organs are underneath here, and all these nerve endings where our emotions go right into our second and third chakra. So you can begin to just free those up on the exhale retention. And so in through the nose, out through the mouth, letting all the gas out of the mouth, dank breath, stuck emotions. Guru Prem was talking the other day, is we don't work on the exhale, and that's when you wring and detox the lungs. The lungs are the largest organ of detoxification. And so optimizing your breathing mechanics, I put everything in my stress management course, which comes free with my book. Today is the last day for that if you guys want to get that. Lots of tremendous value in that stress management course. And so, so let's just breathe, guys. In through the nose, out through the mouth. You can't do it wrong. If you can get your spine into it, great. Otherwise, just sit there and do what you can. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. Here we go. Keep going. If your hands or your lips get numb, keep going. Exhale all the way. Hold. Inhale, hold. Come back to normal. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Come back to center. If you get a little lightheaded, that's fine. Just keep breathing, guys, throughout your life, and it'll clear up your emotional patterns and all that stuff. So now what we're going to do is a little breath of fire. You basically want to pant like a dog. Try this right now. So that, feel your diaphragm there, and then bring that into your nose where you're basically pushing out the exhale. The body will take care of the inhale. That's called breath of fire. We're going to lift our arms up, stick our thumbs out, 60-degree angle, and we're going to go for as long as we can. Breath of fire. Press it out of the nose. Exhale all the way. Hold. Inhale, hold. Come back to normal. In through the nose, out through the nose. A lot of different ways you guys can do breath work. My philosophy is just breathe, motherfuckers. You know, people ask me, hey, is this Wim Hof? Is this Kundalini? Is this yoga? What? Call it shit on a stick. I don't care. Let's breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Here we go. Give it all you got, guys. Exhale all the way. Hold. Inhale, hold. Woo! Like a good bong hit, baby. Blow that puppy out. Get higher than your own supply. Woo! There you go. There's 3 rounds of 30, if you want to call it. It might have been 90 to 100, but
That was good. You know, I feel like breath work is so good, man. That's the best. You got me back into it. I was doing a lot of yoga back in the days with Cara. I was doing retreats. I stopped doing it, and I think yoga, breath work is always just the greatest shit ever. And, you know, obviously b-boying and popping, and that's great too. Dancing's great too.
dude, look at b-boying and yoga is like the highest level of qigong, kung fu, and yoga all put together.
That was awesome, dude.
So great. Let's see if we got any questions from the Psycho Chickens. See how everybody's doing. Yeah, don't make it a thing. And when you finish your breath work, jump in a cold shower and then tell me how electrified you feel. Somebody's got a nose burn. So you can go to the health food store and get a product called Egyptian Magic. It's hypoallergenic and it'll lubricate your tissues, especially if you live in LA. This is a desert. And so you want to lubricate those mucous membranes. So if you've got dry, you could try the Egyptian Magic. There's a more generic brand called B Magic. Both of those are excellent. That's what I put up in my nose. And then if people are stuffy up there, just keep breathing. And you can use a neti pot to clean your nose out with. I personally, because you should not use tap water if you're going to use a neti pot because it has chlorine and fluoride in it. You should use, I use my own urine because it's a saline solution and it works, but clean your nose out regularly from all this, pollution. And so use a neti pot and then try the Egyptian Magic.
Okay, guys, we're going to just tell you a couple things. A of all, Troy is the truth. B of all, follow him, Certified Health Nut, right here. You can see him on this thing here, but it's Certified Health Nut. Certified Health Nut. Join us in the Mann Clan on Friday, and I'll let you know when I can do that exercise. And every Tuesday at 10:30, Troy is going to be leading seminars here to all of you hip hop holistic heads. Thank you, Junomi. Thank you. Troy is the boy. Troy is the man. Troy, I'm gonna call you offline in a bit, which is I just have a question for you. And yeah, thank you, Greco. I'm gonna pin that for 2 seconds. So just so you guys can please follow him right now.
Brian the Lion. Somebody asked, yeah, just keep breathing. And then,
what time on Friday? I think it's 5:30, right, Troy?
Yeah, 5:30 p.m. on Friday. And for all you guys that are following along, I wrote everything and put everything in my book, #RippedAt50, A Journey to Self-Love. I'm offering my free stress management course. Today is the last day for that.
Okay.
I packed it. It's 12-week course. That comes absolutely free for the hardcover collector's edition. Justin, the collector's edition may not come back again. So get it while you can for a coffee table book.
And we're getting cut off. We're getting cut off in 20 seconds, it says here. Thank you, Troy, again. You're the best. Follow him. I pinned his thing, Certified Health Nut. I'll see you guys here at 1 o'clock. I'm doing a drawing thing with Brittany Palmer, UFC girl and artist, and it's going to be fun at 1 o'clock. I'll see you guys here. In the meantime, if you don't follow Troy, you're tripping. Love you, brother.
God bless.